Hey man, it's me, Kevin Smith. Welcome to the Grow Tent, everybody. You have found the best growing channel on YouTube, man. The place where we simplify the approach for you so everyone can learn how to grow. We make it so simple, even I can understand. So I'm going to listen and learn right now.
Woo! What's going on, everybody? We got a great video for you today. We got a question in email form, and I do check them. I get like 1,500 emails a day because I'm a big dummy who puts his email on YouTube. But we had a question come in for on the email, and it said, how or where do I look to see if I was starting to have a bug problem? I thought, what a great idea for a show. So that's what we're going to talk about today. But as always, first, the intro. Guys, if you haven't yet, remember to join our Patreon. We got a crazy end of the year blowout deal happening right now. We're having 3 drops in the last 3 months, so October, November, and December, which the next drop is actually this coming up Monday, so you don't want to miss out. What else? Guys, please remember to like, comment, subscribe, watch the full video, you know, all that stuff that everybody always has to say, because sometimes, you know, remind people the likes do help. What else? Guys, if you haven't checked out Mars Hydro yet, remember to check out Mars Hydro right there, and make sure you check those guys out that use the code WTTGT at discount or at checkout for a discount. You can find a link in the video description below. Same with the Patreon. And let's get today's episode started. All right, we're back. All right, we're back. Today, we're going to talk about something that a lot of people are nervous about, struggle with, that kind of stuff, and it's bugs. You know, if you have sick plants, bugs do generally tend to attack them easier, or if you bring clones in that somebody gave you, a lot of times you're going to bring in spider mites and that kind of stuff, and I don't ever recommend bringing clones into your garden from no matter how good your friend is or how long he's been growing. I don't ever bring clones from anybody else into this dojo. Because a lot of times you just end up with a bug problem. And if you were like, oh man, I got a bug problem. Well, who'd you get your clones from? I imagine they have a bug problem too. All right, so today we're going to be talking about the places where we're going to look, what we're going to be looking for, and then some remedies or some IPM we can do to mitigate these facts. But first, we're going to be talking about where generally do we find bugs in the plant, on the plant, around the plant. So there's going to be 3 main areas we're going to be focusing on for our weekly check that we're going to go through to look for bugs. A lot of people don't know where to look for bugs, what we're looking for, so that's what we're talking about. So of the 3 places, they're going to be in your dirt, on your big fan leaves, usually the underside, and on your main stalk. So these are the 3 areas that we are going to focus on whenever we are doing our weekly check, you know, to make sure we stay on top of looking for bugs and not let it be a big surprise and be like, oh crap, we got bugs everywhere. Because a lot of times by the time people notice them, because they don't know where to look, but a lot of times by the time people notice that they have a bug problem, it's usually a gigantic bug problem. And that's not just so good whenever it's a lot easier if you catch it early, like most things. All right, so we're going to go to the first one is the dirt, and where or what are we looking for in the dirt. So there's a couple different types of bugs that like to live in the dirt of your soil, one being mites, fungus gnat larvae. The fungus gnats are down there too because that's where they're feeding and laying their eggs. So the first one we'll talk about is fungus gnats, and they actually look like the baby fungus gnats look like maggots. They look like little miniature maggots, and it's not like something you can't see. They live in around the top 2 to 3 inches of your soil. That's where the fungus gnats go down, they eat, and they lay their eggs. And if you're overwatering, this is a big problem because they love it when you overwater because they eat the algae and microscopic stuff that grows on your cocoa or soil whenever it's too wet, and that's what they feed off of. So things we can do to avoid fungus gnats or to look for them. As I said, it's really easy to spot the flying kind because when you mess with the soil, they go and they'll fly out of your soil. Or if you take the soil, grab a handful of the topsoil and just spread it out on your hand. Maggots. They're little and they're tiny, but they look like little inchworms. And this is what they look like going across your hand. And it's disgusting to see a bunch of little maggots, swimming around your soil. I'm telling you, just get some dirt. You'll see them. It's bleh, gross. The main thing we can do to combat this is stop overwatering. And number 2, you can add some diatomaceous earth to the top 2 to 3 inches of your soil. We've gone over videos of this where we talked about just this specific bug by itself. And you can top dress some DE in there. It will kill all of the little wiggly maggots by cutting them to pieces and dehydrating them. And if you kill that generation, and the older generation dies off, there's no new generation to take the old generation spot, and you fix that problem. So stop overwatering, add some diatomaceous earth. You can also do stuff like soil drenches, like SOS 209, that kind of stuff. I've never gotten it to the point where I needed to do that stuff. Usually if you just cut back on the watering and add the DE, it takes care of everything. With the mites, you can also get things like nematodes and predatory nematodes, and they will swim around the soil and they will eat the larvae and the mites and stuff like that too. Let's see what else. So that's how you do the dirt. The fan leaves. The fan leaves, they're mainly going to live on the bottom side of your fan leaf, and they are really, really small. They're really hard to see. So a lot of times you can pick off your fan leaves. You're noting some weird damage down the center of the leaf and then spread out down the veins, because that's where like spider mites and stuff like to live on the underside, and they traverse up and down the veins of the leaves. But you can notice the damage, the little speckling in just exact certain areas. And with the spider mites, so you can flip it over, get your jeweler's loop out, and look, and they're like little mini spiders or crabs, and they'll be walking. Bleh, spider mites, gross. Just as bad as way worse than the maggots, because they're way harder to control. But you're going to be checking the underside of your fan leaves. So you can just literally grab fan leaves at random, pull them off, check them with your loop, just like you would be looking for trichomes, but now we're looking for bugs. And if you see anything moving in there, number 1, if it's spider mites, we're going to be doing a giant leaf strip of the plant, take all the big fan leaves off, bag them up, take it outside somewhere, burn them to death so they can't reinvade, and then look at something like Azamax. They don't like diatomaceous earth either, so if you put diatomaceous earth in there, it kind of keeps them away. But Azamax is fantastic for spider mites. And if your spider mite infestation gets too bad, you'll see spider webs everywhere. Not what you want to see in your garden. So that is where you would be checking, and how you would address it with Azamax, neem oil, diatomaceous earth. Don't bring clones in your garden, because you're probably going to end up with spider mites. So those are a couple common things you can do to check for that. And the other is the main stalk. Your spider mites will always gravitate towards the top of your plant, and they will use your main stalk as their elevator system to traverse up and down the different levels of your plant. So that's why if you've ever seen a spider mite infestation, if the plant is still growing, they're at the top of the plant. Or if you have a spider mite infestation whenever you are drying or curing, or not curing, but drying, and the plant is upside down, all the spider webs are no longer at the bottom, and they will go back towards the now top of the plant, which is the plant hanging upside down, so the bottom, and then they will start making their spider webs from the top of the plant down. So they will always traverse to the very top of the plant. That's where they like to be. That's where they feel the safest. So you can actually look at your main stalk, and you will see them walking up and down. It's terrifying if you see that. So your 3 main areas of focus are going to be your dirt, your undersides of your leaves, and in your main stalk, because they will use that as a shaft to traverse up and down the plant. They will go to the center and then up and down depending on where they want to go. You can also look at things like ladybugs. Ladybugs, you can get them off Amazon. They're for I think you can get 1,500 ladybugs for $10, and you can just release them into your garden, and they're like Terminators. They walk around and just eat spider mites, any kind of mites, any bugs in your plant room. I didn't know this about ladybugs till a year or 2 ago. They're like hunter-seeker killers for other bugs. They just sit there and eat bugs all day. They will not hurt your plant. They will not touch your plant. They were only looking for the bugs, and then if you ever run out of bugs, they will just leave. They will not stay in your garden if there's nothing to eat. But I think that will help people if you just check those 3 areas: the dirt, the underside of the fan leaves, and your main stalk closely 1 time a week. You can stay on top of the bug problem that you might not ever get because of that, because you're going to stay on top of it and you can implement those slight bit of IPM tactics to help you out. All right, guys, as always, thank you for watching. I appreciate each and every one of you, especially all my Patreons. Huge shout out to all of you guys for helping and supporting this channel. I have not turned ads back on. I think YouTube shows them on my channel anyway, but I did not turn them on. That is them. I'm not going to turn the ads back on. They remonetize the channel, but I'm not turning the ads back on. All right, guys. I hope you guys all have a fantastic weekend. We should have a video drop tomorrow for the contest. And I'll see you guys then. Bye.